Well, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Chicago. Look, we're at Michigan Avenue. We got a beautiful day here. Yeah, let's head down to the Bean here, and then there's Nando's. They got the window open. Here's the people waiting in Nutella here. Hey, they're letting people in. Look at that. So we'll see if we get a stream here. I guess. Here, we turn the chat on here. There we go. And yeah, it's good to be back. We walked in this morning on YouTube. Beautiful weather. Yeah, 77 degrees. Not bad at all. There's Garrett's Popcorn. Stan's Donuts, but delicious. There's looking back towards the Wrigley building. Yeah, I figured we'll check out the Bean first, and then we'll head through the loop, and then we'll end up at the Riverwalk there. Hey, Ryan, how you doing there? Hey, good to be back. Thanks for tuning in here. Look, Auntie Ann, Cinnabon, they're finally putting the signs up here. This is on Michigan Avenue, just north of Randolph Rainbow Cone. So I guess they'll get it open just in time for wintertime. I thought they would. I guess there was union issues. And here, let's rush to get across Randolph here. Hey, sunshine, Michigan Avenue. It's good to be back in Chicago. Spent 2 weeks there with my father in Indiana there, and we went to Cincinnati and other places. Back home, sweet home Chicago here. There it is. There's the Pittsfield building. Randolph there. There's the train. We'll get through there. Hey, the Prudential buildings. Or one of them. Blue Cross Blue Shield. Wow, everybody's tuning in there. Prince, how you doing there? Krista, Renee, Patty Cakes, Grace. Ernie's tuning in. We saw Ernie this morning on Michigan Avenue, and we saw Ernie yesterday doing the Mexican Independence Day parade there on 26th Street. Thanks for covering that, Renee. Krista, Tracy Spires, Christopher Dotson, thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, I saw Christopher was tuning in yesterday on Ernie's live stream. Thanks for that. And thanks to everybody that follows both Ernie and Christopher. Two live streamers here. Two great cities, New York and Chicago. Hey, Renee there. Ernie, Heather B. Tara's tuning in. That's good. Angie. Hello, Chris is tuning in. Chris Gustafson. Yeah. Chris, we'll talk offline there. We'll see if what's going on this weekend, maybe for the Renaissance Fair. I don't know if you want to do it, or Jennifer, you should eat. I know we briefly talked about that last week. See what the weather's like, and if it's still going on. It's getting late in September, but usually that's when they do the Renaissance Fairs there. Yeah, Angie, Crime Vault. Yeah. Jummy, West, Christy. How's everybody doing here? Hey, founders of Millennium Park. Yeah, we haven't seen the Bean in over 2 weeks. I think last time I was here it was with my Aunt Della when she was in for Labor Day. Time flies here, but hey, still got beautiful weather here. Still technically summertime. Yeah. Hey, Chris, great to see you. Didn't miss a thing. Good. Yeah. So here we'll look at the flowers. Yeah, in a few short months they'll be putting up the Christmas tree right there. It's hard to think about now when it still feels like summer. Hey, let's check out the Bean here. Hey, they're getting ready to race there. On your marks, get set, go. They're gonna race. There they go. They're racing. That's good. There's the Bean. Millennium Park, Chicago, Illinois, 77 degrees. What a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. Yeah, what's shaking everybody there? So we'll work on it here. I think there's still issues with my messages there, but we'll see if we can work it out here. Lorraine, how you doing there? So, Millennium Park, Chicago, Illinois. Let's check out the Great Bean of Chicago. There it is. Always looks nice on a sunny day here. So they still got the Casa Bonita here. Yeah, it actually feels really warm, like a summer's day here, which it still is. Hey, we got the sisters here. Yeah, heading through here, checking out the bean there. Yeah, we saw the, how you doing? Very nice. We saw the Chicago Pope had his birthday there, 70 years young there. We saw the drones there, and they had the music acts there. will.i.am and Pharrell played at the Vatican. How's that for outreach? Look at that. There's the great branded bean of Chicago. Everybody's got their selfie sticks, cameras, just like me. Taking a picture with the great bean there. If it's cutting out, sometimes it cuts out by the bean. We'll keep going here. Just bear with it. I know it's annoying. And thanks for letting me know we're cutting in and out here. We'll do the best we can. There's sometimes around the bean they got, I don't want to say it's jammers, it's just there's so many people taking pictures and stuff. So hey, if you just tuned in, this is Chicago, Illinois. This is called Cloud Gate. We call this the bean. And it looks like a big bean. And very popular sculpture we got here in the center. There's the central business district. You see all the high-rise skyscrapers downtown Chicago, Illinois, United States, Illinois, planet Earth. But the bean's popular because you can see yourself reflected in it. People, you can go reach right up and touch it, and hey, we could do the same thing here. Reach out and touch somebody here. See, here it is. There I am right there. Where are my Cubs at? Because the Cubs' magic number is 4. And it looks like the Cubs are going to make the playoffs this year, so I don't want to jinx it here. They still got to run out the clock there. Hey, great bean of Chicago. Favorite city. Kelmoy, how you doing there? VMads. So it's stainless steel. It's polished stainless steel. It kind of cleans itself. We see it usually after it rains. It looks pretty nice and clean. Sometimes the pigeons mess it up, and when it gets snow on it, it kind of tarnishes it. But hey, we got here's the Double Clutch Brewing Company here, Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. That used to be the Montgomery Ward's headquarters, the old mail order catalog, but now it's housing. You can live at the top there. A lot of this is housing in there. Hey, yeah. Hey, since they're piping in the music, we got to get out of here because I'll get a copyright strike. So let me type. They just turned on that music there, and I don't want to get a copyright strike here. So we'll quickly retreat here, and we'll head over past the Crown Fountain, and we'll go straight into the Loop of Chicago. So I don't think they're practicing for the symphony sometimes. Well, that's over, I guess, the summer concert series. Yeah, they got the stage closed. We were here last at the Jazz Festival, which was going on Labor Day weekend. It's nice out. How you doing there? Tasneem, South Africa. Raining cats and kitties there. Well, we got sunshine here, so we're getting the rain, we're getting the sunshine. But Bella, how you doing there? Christy M. Yeah, nice walking around. Thanks everybody for tuning in here. And yeah, Kelmoy, Chicago, you got it. So here, let's head down to Crown Fountain here. Beautiful flowers. Monday, September the 15th, 2025 here. Yeah, let's go through the loop. We'll see what's happening. We'll head over to the Riverwalk. Well, it's good to be back at work. I actually got something accomplished this morning. It's hard to do. See, that's why I head into the office. It was great working part-time from my dad's place there, but a lot of distractions. Here's the Crown Fountain there. It's looking good. Hey, there's the train there. There it is. Heading into the station there. See the Crown Fountain. Yeah, they got these virtual Yvette Mayorg. You got augmented reality. You download on your phone, and then you can see it there. Maybe we'll try it. There's the Crown Fountain, the faces, and here we'll head over here. We'll see if they spit out the water here. No guarantee. What a beautiful day here. Blue sky, 77 degrees, Chicago, Illinois, Millennium Park. Checked out the bean there. Yeah, I might have cut out a little bit by the bean. I guess we're streaming clear to the rear right now, hopefully. And yeah, let's see if we can catch the faces spitting out the water here. Oh, she doesn't look happy at all. It's like, why'd you put my face up on the screen there? Oh, the Crown Fountain here, Millennium Park. Got the glass tile, they project the digital image there. Yeah, beautiful Chicago. You got it. So they're all waiting for what I'm waiting for. Every 5 minutes, they spit out water. They pucker up and they spit out water. So here, let's see if we get lucky, and if they decide to do it here while we're walking through here. If we don't have to wait 5 minutes. Hey, there's a tour guy with the umbrella there. We're coming by here, but hey, they got the food trucks here. Maybe if we head around the other side, we might get it better. Yeah, I usually stream morning, noon, and night. We do 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. We're going to be on YouTube now, pretty much, unless something changes. All week, weekdays, Mondays through Friday. And then there's the nice skyline view, Chicago, Illinois here. Ground down here. Yeah, how you doing? You got somebody's yelling. But then, yeah, we also stream on my walk home from work, which is 5 p.m. to around 6:30 or 7 in the evenings here. So I was hoping we were going to we'll see if they spit out the water here. It's always, you know, I get impatient waiting for this thing. I wish they would do it like every minute instead of every 5 minutes, but there's a reason why they do it. But this won't be on. I mean, this will be on probably until the end of October, and then they'll have to turn it off. But so we'll stick around here until it. But yeah, the weather looks great. Look at the beautiful skyline here, Chicago, Illinois. Here we're by Michigan Avenue. This is the Crown Fountain here, Millennium Park there. Everybody's waiting around for it to spit out the water here. So we'll wait just another minute here. You can wade through this infinity pool here. It's actually warm enough today that it's, you know, there's not anybody in the water, but usually there's people in the water. So here, Montgomery Ward, that's the Willoughby Tower. You can see the moon there. There's the University Club, Monroe Building, the old Santa Fe Building. And this, you see at the top here, this was a Louis Sullivan, it's called the Gauge. You see his classic Louis Sullivan ornamentation there. And overlooks the Louis Sullivan building right here in the loop. There's actually a few more. Of course, Carson Prairie Scott, which we film all the time. Here's the sculptures up here. There's some sculptures up here if you go up the stairs. And we're waiting for the water to come out here. And if I would have known it was this long, I would have walked on. We're wasting time here that we could be walking through the loop. Here it goes. Here they're going to go. So here's the Crown Fountain. Here we'll watch it spit out the water. There it is. Right on cue. There it is. So every 5 minutes they spit out the water, and hey, you can get underneath it there and get a shower. The kids playing there, and there you see the one on the other side does the same thing there. Crown Fountain here, Millennium Park, Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, they're checking it out. There it is. See, it doesn't last long. And then you have to wait another 5 minutes for the next one. So, hey, we got it. Was that worth it? I don't know. Hey, Will, how you doing? Delios, Ronnie. Yeah, Beeline, Tea Time. That's everybody doing Bella. Hey, let's head through the loop here. Let's see what's happening in the loop of Chicago, 12:15. Yeah, sitting on the grass here. Art Institute of Chicago. Visited Labor Day weekend. Had a wonderful time. Christy M there. That's good. Walked in Lincoln Park, the Gold Coast. Hey, good. See, that's all the areas I walked there. So you see, you felt like you knew where the area was there before you were even there. That's the power of this bends time and space. You can feel like you walked around Chicago wherever you're at there. Here, Gustave Calibati. They got the Art Institute of Chicago. They have traveling exhibits. We saw that Yoko Ono's got an exhibit at the Modern Museum of Art here. Gustave Calibati painting his world. They got the food trucks. Food trucks usually pull up here on Monroe Street, across from the Millennium Park there. And there's the University Club. And there's the Monroe Building. We'll cross Michigan Avenue here. The Art Institute of Chicago's right here. Symphony Hall is just down there, block south. There's that view looking north to the Wrigley Building, Michigan Avenue at Monroe. Yeah, Taco Jalapeno Salsa, Renee, D. Michael. We had all the Michaels tuning in this morning. D. Michael, Michael Rodriguez, and Michael Anderson. We got plenty of other Michaels. My cousin Mike. Lots of Michaels, lots of Brians in the world too. So here we'll see if we see the GTA train come through here. Oh, I missed the horns. There's the train. There it is, the green line. There's the green line traveling through there. Loop of Chicago. You used to compose. Now you're decomposing. Ah, D. Michael. Yeah, Gustave Calibati, great painter. Yeah, we can check it out. As you know and other people know, I had a year membership to the Art Institute of Chicago, and I used to attempt to live stream there. I know Jay, Streetwalking, and other people I've seen, but I have horrible luck. They don't like filming in the Art Institute of Chicago. Here's the train heading through the Brown Line, heading through the Loop of Chicago here. So maybe I can go and take some still photos. I used to be a member. I let my membership run out specifically because they would not let me film there. And they lost a member because all I wanted to do was simply film it and show people how great the Art Institute of Chicago is. But it shows you there's reasons, I guess, they want people to pay. There are free days, and they have rules. There's reasons they don't like people building. They really don't like gimbals. If you film with your phone with a shaky camera, you can get away with it, but security will be checking, make sure you're not filming there. Here, let's cross here. Hey, they're working. Man at work here in the loop here. We'll go underneath. This is Wabash Street, Wabash, Loop of Chicago. There, you might recognize that from the Blues Brothers there. Underneath the elevated train tracks here. This is called Jewelers Row. Jewelers Row in the Loop of Chicago. We'll go right past the Palmer House here. We got many videos where we go inside. Remember, I always lose my connection when we go in there. So we'll just, we'll let you watch the reruns here. But here's the Palmer House Hilton in Loop of Chicago here, State and Monroe. Yeah, Tara, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks for the temperature. That's a nice temperature there. Yeah, Gustave Calibati there painting his world. That's what we're talking about. Here's the Palmer House. It's a Hilton Hotel here. Here, I'll just duck in here 1 second. And I know I'm going to lose my connection. I'll lose my connection because these thick walls, but please stick on. It's worth it to, I'll spend like 20 seconds in here. We'll go inside the amazing lobby of the Palmer House Hilton here. This is the third iteration of this hotel. The first one burnt down in the Great War. If I go any further, conventions, you name it. This is the Empire Room in the Palmer House Hilton. Look how nice this is. They got a stage, a hall of mirrors there. And look at this amazing view you get to the inside of this hotel was. When I moved here, there in the basement, there was a Trader Vic's, or what was it called? It was like a tiki bar, but we'll head back outside and we'll keep on going here. Hey, thanks for sticking with the spotty connection there. I knew it was going to be spotty, but I can't resist trying to show that amazing lobby there. We do the same thing with Marshall Fields and the Tiffany domes inside the cultural center. We have similar problems trying to film those. But hey, 12:22. We'll head over to, we'll cross State Street and we'll head up to Daily Plaza to see if anything's going on at Daily Plaza here. Here, let's cross the street here. So Monroe at State Street, there's the clock. Hopefully my connection's back now. And we'll cross State Street and we'll head through the rest of the loop here. This is State Street looking north, loop of Chicago. Yeah, the first building burnt down in 1871. The Great Chicago Fire was 1871. So the first iteration of the Palmer House Hilton, which is there, it was in the same location. Burnt down 1871. So I don't think when they rebuilt it, probably they rebuilt it in the 1870s. That's why by the 1920s, that was 40, 50 years old, and they thought it was time to tear it down and build a new one. And then the one we got now is the 1920s version of the Palmer House Hilton. Here, this is the Sullivan Center. So this is the Chicago-style windows of Louis Sullivan's architectural masterpiece here. And this is the Gothic Target on State and Madison. State and Madison, historically the most congested intersection in the loop. That was a stage photo. There's a famous photo where all the horses and trolleys are all trapped. Can't get across the street because of the congestion of the loop of the late 1800s. And it was very congested when all the railroad stations and businesses before the internet, everybody had to work and network downtown. But here's the Carson Prairie Scott, affectionately known as the Gothic Target now, because it used to be Carson Prairie Scott, but now it's a Target store. But it's still Louis Sullivan, still the Sullivan Center. You can see all the way up to the Chicago Theater. If we don't get by it today, we'll get by it later this week. We'll go by the Chicago Theater. We got reruns of that. And so State Street, loop of Chicago. We'll cross the street here and State and Madison. Hey, CJ Mommy there. Russell's tuning in there. Let's see who else is tuning in. Yeah, CJ's mommy's got it going on. Go State Street. Yeah, let's head over this way. So this is the Chicago building, an early vintage skyscraper. And we'll see if we can see the top of it there. Chicago building. And head over to Dearborn Street here. Here's where they got the bus link station. Chase building here is a Walgreens. Yeah, thanks for hitting the thumbs up there. It's very, you just double tap the screen there. Hit the thumbs up there. McRae's giving me good advice about the ins and out of the YouTube app. There's things I still don't understand about this app or any apps we're figuring out there. Yeah, TikTok, a lot of big, some really big heavy hitters with like millions of followers had their accounts deleted because of the new terms and conditions. We knew this was coming. I've been watching Wolf, or no, his name's Hawk. I keep doing that. I keep confusing with, his name's Hawk. He's a lawyer. He has a huge following on all these platforms, and he's worried about his accounts. And here, we'll head up Dearborn Street here. We'll go up to Daily Plaza. We'll just see if anything's happening. Sometimes they do flag raisings for different nationalities. And yeah, they're flying the Mexican flag. How you doing there? That's great, friends and neighbors here. People saying hello here. Yeah, Ernie covered on 26th Street, the Mexican Independence Day parade there on Sunday in Little Village. Thanks for covering that there. Chicago Nuggies, check them out there. There, the Washington, oops, car's backing out here. said something about the Chicago Marathon here. Here's the Blue Line. I posted some reruns of the Blue Line. We rode it from O'Hare through Logan Square and the whole way ride there from, you can watch the whole ride from, we started in Concourse C in the United part and went all the way to the train station there at O'Hare and rode it all the way to the Loop. And you can check that out on the rerun, the live tab, YouTube. I cut out some shorts and transferred some of the footage to YouTube. So here we're at Washington and Dearborn. There's City Hall, Loop of Chicago, 77 degrees. We got 1227 here. Let's get across the street here. Here's some the two-way bike lane. You got to look both ways. Hey, there's somebody using it there. Here we got the light. There's Channel 2 News. Sometimes they have the live broadcast there, but doesn't seem like there's much going on at Daily Plaza, so we'll go over and check out the Thompson Center. Then we'll head down to the Riverwalk here. So thanks for tuning in. Daily Plaza, City Hall, Chicago, Illinois. You might recognize this if you've ever seen the Blues Brothers. This is where they parked the Bluesmobile and ran inside there at the end of the movie when all the police were chasing them. And there you can get down to the lower level. We can connect to the Pedway that way. And you connect to the red and blue line subway stations here. Hey, look at this. They got a little Chicago landmark, Daily Center. They got Braille, and they got something about the Picasso, which is that. Look, they took the fencing down. Remember there was fencing up? They took it down. Very interesting. It feels like a figment of my imagination. They put a railing and fence all around here and around the water, and City Walking Girl Jay filmed it as well. And now they took it down, so Overtime Seb can slide back down to Bean again. I guess they just did it because maybe the protests, they didn't want people climbing on it for the protests that happened last week when I was out of town. We're at Daily Plaza. We'll come back here later this week. They'll have the farmers market and the food trucks. Sometimes they have DJs, but nothing today, Monday. Counting jobs, smart assets. Yeah, I got to be careful, Sheridan. You're right. I don't want to live stream myself getting hit by a car. But they got the little tables here. They took the railing away from the fountain there. There's the First United Methodist. But I saw they made a lot of progress here in the last 2 weeks on the curtain wall for the Thompson Center. So let's check it out here. We'll give you an update on the Thompson Center. The new Google. We'll tell Google I'm switching from TikTok to Google for my live streaming. We've been doing live streaming here for 2 years though. There's columns there, but there's the former State of Illinois Building Thompson Center, the new Google. We'll check it out here, and then we'll head to the Riverwalk. Angel, how you doing there? Michael's doing all the puns. I get jokes. So hey, look at that curtain wall. It looks pretty much like it used to. Remember that's the old Thompson Center. They got a layer of glass on the inside. They got a layer on the glass on the other side. So there's a vapor barrier in between the inner and outer. So hopefully that'll help with the heating and cooling of that atrium, because that was always an issue. And I'm sure it's much more reflective. You see how much more reflective the glass is? It was like a mirror there with the sun hits it at a certain angle. So this is the former State of Illinois Thompson Center, the new Google headquarters downtown. Google Alphabet's investing money in renovating this. And here we're crossing Randolph Street. See, there's the Netherlander. And here we'll cross the street here. Actually, I'll show the construction here. We got 12:30 here. Yeah, we'll show from this side. There's the construction elevator. There you can look right through to the atrium. Of course, you can still transfer to the Blue Line and all the loops, train stations here. Angel, how you doing there, Mia? Thanks for tuning in there. Hello again. But here we'll go back under the Lake Street. There goes the Green Line pulling into the Clark and Lake train station. I think there's still, you can still get your real ID here unless they moved it to the other place. Hey, parking garage. So now we're at Clark Street and Lake Street, loop of Chicago. Hey, that's an Indian Scout motorcycle. Look at that. There, Real ID Super Center. It's still here. Get your DMV. Hey, we got the food trucks here. That's underneath. Look how it's really dark underneath there to Clark and Lake Station. Hey, we got Mexi tacos. What else we got here? I think this to the left, they call this the transportation building. Oh, the pigeons are coming to get me. India's tuning in. Bream, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in to YouTube. That is one of the things I appreciate about YouTube. We have over 1 billion people from India can access my content on YouTube, which TikTok, they cannot. TikTok is banned in India. Is that still the case? I think, Bream, I think that's the case. And we're still in limbo. The United States, we're still not sure there's going to be a deal. I know they're trying to work out a deal, but I'll use TikTok as my backup. I'll still post reruns there, but we're going to live stream on YouTube. I just made the decision. Thanks everybody for understanding here, and it works out for the lunch bunch anyway, because we've been doing this for a year anyway. Hey, there's the Marina Towers here. Let's head down to the Riverwalk. We'll see if we see any boats and things. Here, let's head over to, here we go. There's the Brown Line heading across the river there, Wells Street Bridge. We'll check the schedule to see if they're going to start doing the bridge lifts for on Wednesdays, but it might be too early. We'll see. But here we're on Wacker Drive. Look at this nice metal work here. We'll head over to LaSalle Street. Here, there's the time and temp there on the clock there. It says 71 degrees in the shade, but if you're in the sun, it feels like upper 70s. Not too bad. Yeah, so the new TikTok terms and conditions make it hard for live streamers. Number one, if you read the terms, I'm responsible for anything that happens in my live. So if somebody jumps in front and says hate speech, I'm responsible for it. And people have done that in the past, and I'm not willing to take the risk. People see, they want to get me banned, and it's just like for the lulz, it's like troll. It's another way to troll people. Here, we'll head across the street here. We've got 5 seconds to get across Wacker Drive here. So maybe we'll talk about the Eastland disaster since we got here. 12:35 here. We just crossed Wacker Drive. Here's the train. Here's the classic view looking south on LaSalle Street. You get this from the movie Road to Perdition, where you look down LaSalle Street with the train going through there. Yeah, the trolls. I mean, there's trolls everywhere. I mean, people just like to, it's just part of chaos. People like to cause chaos, and even if they like me, they troll me. It's just what people do. They want to test to see how you react to certain things. That's all it is. Here we got some kayakers. Yeah, look at this beautiful view we got here. Here, let's head down here. Chicago Riverwalk here. There we go. Look at that view. Look, there's a red line. I know they haven't. No, maybe it's. It looks like a red. It should be a brown line. Maybe it's maybe in the sun the brown's looking like red, but there's the brown line heading north there to the Merchandise Mart station here over the Chicago River. Roast beef and potatoes, that sounds good there. And you have a nice meal there, meat and potatoes. There's Chicago's First Lady. You're getting the boats going by. September the 15th, 2025. What a nice day here. We'll sing the Earth, Wind, and Fire song. Hey, look at that, going under the LaSalle Street Bridge. Made it to the Riverwalk here. So there's the Merchandise Mart. We talk about that. There's Salesforce Tower, Wolf Point. There's the Confluence. Yeah, hopeful and blessed. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, there's trolls everywhere. Chris knows. Chris knows. I guess you could still rent these bicycle boats where you paddle the wheel there. Hey, here we go. Right under. But hey, we made it back to the Riverwalk. See, you missed the bean. You missed the Riverwalk. I saw all the other, live streamers. They were down here. I saw Overtime Seb, Nick, and Jennifer. You Should Eat. She was streaming in the zoo. It's good. It's great. All the Jody GTV, J City Walking Girl, Nia. We got, but I'm still shocked and still haven't fully processed that we lost Drew Drzezinskis. I think a lot of you knew and followed Drew Drzezinskis and unfortunately passed away. We did a memorial TikTok to him there. I guess I need to transfer that over to YouTube so you guys can see that on YouTube as well. But he mainly streamed on TikTok, I think. But yeah, we will miss Drew. It was such a sad, unfortunate. He was so young too, only 42 years old. But here's the seating wall between Clark Street and LaSalle here. And this is where the Eastland disaster happened in 1915, around there. A horrible maritime disaster happened here where a Laker ship that was retrofitted after the Titanic. They added lifeboats and concrete at the deck. It made it top heavy. It listed, turned over when they were loading it up for a pleasure cruise, and there was over 800 people on board that perished. They got trapped in the hull when it listed and took on water and drowned on the inside of the boat if they were underneath. And it was a horribly tragic event. Almost as many people died in the Eastland disaster as the Titanic. And it was quite a shock for Chicago. Probably the worst boat accident that ever happened in this city as far as loss of life. Eastland disaster. So the National Guard's not here. From what I heard, the National Guard's going to Memphis. From my understanding, I was gone the last 2 weeks. I was visiting my father for his birthday, and he had to go to the doctors. I had to drive him to the hospital and stuff. My fellow Chicagoans that were here, from what I understand, the National Guard was never deployed in Chicago. We were used as a prop in the national culture wars, which we're used to that in Chicago because of our mayor and big city politics, New York and LA. A lot of, LA, they really did send the National Guard. And so I did not see the National Guard at all the entire time, the build up there. So, and it looks just like a normal day. And from what I hear, the National Guard's going to Memphis, Tennessee, because as the separation of powers in our Constitution Republic state, the governors have to request the use of, the states control the use of the National Guard within the states. The governors control it. So the governor of Tennessee requested, allowed Trump, and the mayor of Memphis, it doesn't matter what the mayor of Memphis thinks, just like it doesn't matter what the mayor of Chicago thinks. It's up to J.B. Pritzker whether the National Guard is deployed in Illinois. Same with Tennessee. It's the governor of Tennessee that made that decision, not the president of the United States, even though he wants it. And so here's Bright Star. Here's the Star of Chicago. And look what it did. It did, unite Chicagoans behind the idea that people made a lot of videos. They were like, so the debate will continue, and we'll keep on going there. Yeah, you see that T-Line, T-Time. Yeah, thanks everybody for your comments here. We're just heading underneath Clark Street on the Chicago Riverwalk, watching the tour boats go by. These are architectural tour boats, and they're not as crowded because kids are back in school. And even though September is a wonderful time, in my opinion, to visit Chicago, because the weather's usually great, it usually doesn't rain that much. and it doesn't get too hot, but it doesn't get cool. It's still warm. The lake's warm enough to swim in it, as warm as it is any other time of the year. I mean, in the summertime.
Sorry.
And this might even continue through the marathon, which starts beginning of October. But here we're by the tiny Tap Cafe here. Oops, that's good. And yeah, you can sit here right by the Riverwalk here. Yeah, Lambie T's tuning in there. LG21 there. Syndicate Spy. Thanks for tuning in there. Oops. Yeah, it's pretty nice there, Matt. Yeah, the boats just fit. The boats just fit. So maybe starting on Wednesdays, I might have to travel for work next week, but Wednesdays, and especially in October, though, we'll spend our lunch times as we usually do in the spring, watching them lift these bridges, because you get a lot of scenic vantage points in the sailboats, and sometimes we interact with the people on the sailboats as they pull their boats out of the harbors for the winter season. But here's Chicago Riverwalk here. Oops. Gotta watch where I'm walking here. Yeah, thanks for the temperature there. And really, Julie Reed there, how you doing? Yeah, Christy M. She took a river and lake cruise. Yeah, you have to wait to the lock. Oh yeah, waiting for the lock's a long time if you go between the lake and the river. Yeah, how long did that take? Yeah, so this is actually, the river is just a little bit lower in the lake, and people are saying, how's that possible? It's because they reverse the Chicago River. It flows the opposite, it flows away from the lake. So a small amount of the lake water does drain into the river, but it's not enough to drain the lake. So here we're still on the Chicago Riverwalk here. We got 1244. Hey, there's some boats. There's some boats parked up here by the City Winery. You can see we're right across from Marina Towers, corn cob buildings. It's corn. It's a big lump with knobs. We got the juice. Is that song still even sung?
Everybody.
Hey, we got a purple boat. We got a purple boat here. Speedboat. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's still boating season here, City Winery. Man, there's an orange and yellow boat. 10 to 15 minutes, that's not too bad. Yeah, that's about normal. But hey, thanks for taking a river cruise there. Hopefully you got some nice views of the skyline. You went out on the lake, Navy Pier. There's these, Chris and I call these the Shriner boats, because they're little bitty boats you can rent, like the Shriner cars, and tootle around the river. Easy way to get on the river. You want your own vehicle. We still saw that. There used to be the guy that drove the boat that looked like a sports car, but we haven't seen him much. Must have moved to a different city. But hey, they're still working on the State Street Bridge. You see they're welding. That's why they got this barge. They're working on the State Street Bridge here at Chicago Riverwalk. Look at this large barge. It's going to the other side there. And it's got a fit between that. You got to go on. See, look, the live welds going on there. There's sirens here. There goes the city view. And there's the City Winery here. I was seeing if the sirens were going across. I think they're going along Lake Street or Wack. There's the live weld going on there. See the sparks flying. There's the sparks flying. There's the city view, large barge heading underneath the State Street Bridge is under construction. Usually we see people fishing here, but I don't see anybody fishing today. Did they already do the swim? They were supposed to swim in the Chicago River. I might have missed it. There's the shoreline. Barge is heading through. Hey, we're over by the Vietnam War Memorial here. Hey, look at this cute dog. Hey, thanks for tuning in here, Chicago, Illinois, Chicago Riverwalk, Chicago River. We got kayakers. We still got kayakers in September. What a nice day to be out there on the water. This is the old IBM building. Now they call it the American Medical Association Plaza. There's the Marina Towers. The corn crab building's designed by Tron Goldberg, the architect. And there's the Trump Tower. So this was built in 1968, and this was built around 2009. And this was built probably early 1970s. And here's the Vietnam War Memorial. They added this when they did this portion of the Riverwalk in the early 2000s. Chicago remembers. They got the flags. Flags are flying at full staff. They were half staff last week. And there's the Jewelers building. Hey, the pigeons are having a nice bath here. What do you say, pigeons? You got this nice bird bath there. Yeah. Swimming in the water there. You got your little pool there. There's the pigeons in the Vietnam War Memorial Fountain here, Chicago, Illinois. And there's all the military insignia. We just went through Labor Day, Labor Day. Eventually we'll get to Veterans Day in November. There's Chicago Brew House. We can head up those steps. We'll go this way. There's the water taxi going through. And this is the brew house. You can sit out here. Western Michigan University, that's good. Vila Harrison there. Guatemala. Edilazar, thanks for tuning in there. Diane, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in, Diane. Timothy, yeah, thanks for tuning in. California, that's great. Mohammed, thanks for tuning in. Pakistan's tuning in. Mohammed, thanks for tuning in. People all over the world. Yeah, it's pretty noisy with the sirens. Yeah. What is that? Lake at night? Yeah, the sirens. Lake at night. Yeah, Christy. Yeah, thanks everybody. Love Lizzie. Yeah, Chicago loves you. Hey, lovely Lizzie. Thanks for tuning in there. So here, Chicago Riverwalk. We're going underneath Wabash here. And we'll head over to the Wrigley Building and the Tribune Tower. We walked by here this morning, but it was earlier in the morning here. So morning, noon, and night, we're going to be streaming on YouTube. You on the lunch bunch, you're well ahead of the curve here. You've been watching for years anyway. Here, there's the Trump Tower. But it makes it easier for me because you can watch the full live rerun. If you missed the earlier part of this, if you had something else to do or you're eating lunch and you want to catch it tomorrow, you can watch the whole thing. And, you know, if you need to message me, you can write a message in the comments. I'll eventually get back to it. I'll eventually see it. I do make a point of trying to look at all the comments. It takes a while. And here's the O'Brien's on the Riverwalk here, Chicago, Illinois, right across from the Trump Tower. There was a big protest here last week. I missed it. I think Jody GTV was covering it. It was hard to live stream with the crowds. They cut down the cell tower so people can't coordinate for flash mobs and things like that. So he filmed it and posted some reruns of it. And here we'll head right up to the Wrigley Building, the Tribune Tower on the Chicago Riverwalk. Beautiful 77-degree day here, September 15th, 12:50 in the PM local time, Chicago Central Time. And all this week I plan on working from the office here, so we'll be doing our morning and evening walks there as I walk to work and tooling around the loop like we did today there. Yeah, the art museum's pretty nice there. We went by it earlier, the Art Institute of Chicago. It's just south of the Millennium Park there. If you rewind that, we went near it. We didn't go by the Lions there, but we're over by Michigan Avenue here. And we'll show you the Wrigley Building, the Tribune Tower. Yeah, so Shy Boys Cafe. They got the Marketplace, Feed Your Head underneath here. Neighborly. And Colores Mexicanos did have a shop. It's over here. I don't know if they still do. And here's the stairs you can get up to Upper Michigan. We'll go up to the bridge here. Here, I want to get this nice view though. You get this amazing view of the Wrigley Tribune Intercontinental Hotel there, beginning of North Michigan Avenue, across from the DuSable, or north of the DuSable Michigan Avenue Bridge there, Chicago Riverwalk. So, hey, you got some nice murals here. We'll head up the stairs. We'll see what it looks like from the bridge here. Yeah, this is the Riverwalk here, Josh. Thanks for tuning in. Chicago, Illinois. There's the Wrigley Building, the Tribune, Intercontinental Hotel, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America. Here's Lower Wacker Drive. So we show this a lot. This is the bypass. You see there's a street above us, streets below the streets. And it's really, you see we're still above the street. There's actually probably a level below this. And that's Michigan Avenue. You can actually go the lower part of the bridge there. You ever see the Blues Brothers or the Batman movies, Transformers, they use that, all those movies. Hey, look at that nice view. We head up the stairs here. Hey, it's good to be back in Chicago. Thanks everybody for letting me have a good time there with my dad. We took a bunch of bike rides. It was very peaceful. I do like getting out of the city every once in a while. It's a good change of pace. And we got some good footage of Cincinnati and those little German towns there in southeast Indiana. See how they got, you can do the selfie stand there. We'll head across the bridge here. We got a little time here, 12:53 here. We'll just get the view from the DuSable Michigan Avenue Bridge here, Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, they're selling the little, nice souvenirs there. Hey, here's Harvey Loves Danger. Harvey Loves Danger. How you doing? That's great. Nice to see you. That's good. Yeah. See, we know that guy. Harvey Loves Danger. That's his dog. What a good day for the bike ride there. That's good. You might see them on Instagram. And we saw him at Wrigley Field. Chris, did you see? I don't know if Chris is still on that. Hey, look at this boat. There's a boat right below us there, heading underneath us. Hey, there's a dog in that boat. Hey, how you doing, these fellas? That's good. See, you're taking a nice little tour. So they're loading up the architectural tour boat. You can catch them over there, and you can catch them here underneath the Wrigley Building. I think the Wendella is under the Wrigley Building. But look at that beautiful view to the Tribune. There, the lake's that way. There you can see the St. Regis. That's the tallest building designed by a female architect, Jeannie Gang. She still practices here in Chicago. And of course the Aqua, you can't see it behind the Hyatt there. But there's the Tribune, the Intercontinental Hotel, the Wrigley Building here, Chicago, Illinois. And we just crossed the Chicago River there. Look, it looks green. Look how green the river looks. That's why people say it looks green naturally, and it does sometimes. They don't even have to dye it. There you can see the John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. This is looking up. And these things project light. They project light. And the reason they got it, so the light doesn't affect the people driving up Michigan Avenue when they shine light on these buildings at night. So there's the Trump Tower. There's the Wrigley Building. There's the Gear Deli. We'll go by Fannie Mae. But here's this amazing view. You get to the Tribune and the Wrigley. Yeah, see positive, negatives, everything. There's some things that New York City does better than Chicago, and there's some things Chicago does better than New York. Like our streets are much cleaner. They'll take your photo here, they'll put it right on a vintage newspaper here. They got an old time camera. And here's this nice view. We'll check out the river here. But hey, look at this great view. You get to the Jewelers Building, the Mather Tower, the London House, 333 North Michigan. These vintage skyscrapers. And there's people loading up the boat there. Take a river tour here, the Wendella. There's also Shoreline. There's a different competing companies. Take water taxis. And look at the great view. You get to the Jewelers Building, Mather Tower, Leo Burnett and R.R. Donnelly buildings. Just looking towards Wabash there. Yeah. Hey, people taking pictures here. Look at that view. So I got to get back to work here, but thanks everybody for coming along for this little tour. I'm not signing off just yet. I'm going to walk 2 blocks south here, or at least get you down to Lake in Michigan. Because if I'm walking, I might as well be talking here. Appreciate everybody tuning in here from all over the world, checking out this. So we'll be here all week. We'll be walking home tonight after 5 o'clock on YouTube. I know people have been looking for me on TikTok. They changed their terms and conditions. We'll talk about it more. You know, my account's still in good standing, even though I'm really close to being kicked out of the Creator Fund, and it's a scare tactic. And several big name TikTokers lost their accounts with 1.5 million. You know how valuable that is? That if you have a TikTok account with 1.5 million followers, how valuable it is, and when they ban your account, you lose all that access because, you know, access to your audience. So that's why, thanks for finding me on YouTube. We got to be on multiple accounts and different competing social media platforms. Just the way it is. Here goes the Chicago Odyssey. Maybe we'll get the Odyssey coming through here. Maybe we'll end it with the Odyssey here. We got 12:57. Maybe I'll head over there and we'll watch the Odyssey dinner cruise boat here. Head through here. 12:57. I'll try to stay on until noon at least. But hey, we'll see with Cubs magic numbers 4. We'll see if they can clinch a playoff spot. I know the Bears had that horrible loss yesterday. I turned it off. Ernie was spot on. He was like, they're gonna lose, and they did. And but hey, there's that nice view. Wrigley Tribune. Got the hotel. The reason I'm sticking here, if I didn't see the Odyssey dinner cruise boat, I would have just walked down Michigan Avenue. But I saw the dinner cruise boat heading through here, so we're Whacker Drive here. People walking the dogs here. What a beautiful day. And we'll go up to this point here and we can get a good view of the Odyssey dinner cruise boat heading through here. Here it comes. See, look. This is why I'm sticking around here. Hey, Mike. Yeah, how you doing there, Dom? Old gangster movies. Yeah, see, so people used to think Al Capone had a speakeasy up there. That's not true. It used to be true. It used to be called the Stratosphere Club. But yeah, see, there's the Marina Towers. And that's why they still use Chicago for all these gangster movies like The Untouchables, Road to Perdition. Many movies have been filmed. 8 Men Out, of course, because it was about Chicago. All those movies were about Chicago. Here's the Odyssey dinner cruise boat there. Everybody having a lunchtime cruise there. What a beautiful day. I'm jealous of these people just out in the middle of a Monday being out on this boat. See, you can dine in there. And these are like the boats that go up to Seine there in Paris. But we got one here in Chicago. Beautiful boat here. We'll watch it head in front of the skyscrapers here. Singapore's tuning in. Tara, thanks for tuning in from Singapore. Welcome to Chicago here. Yeah, Cubs play the Pirates today. It's 5:40. Thanks, Taco, for the good information. Hiron, how you doing there? Carol, thanks for tuning in there. Mike, Dom, Tree Rogie. Yeah, 6 blocks south. Well, I've been walking in this city for 26 years. Maybe you're hoping I get robbed. I don't know. You know, as Darren Monroe would say, you know, I need to learn not to manifest it either. You know, so hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Keep your street smarts about you. Yeah, you know, don't wear headphones. Don't walk in the middle of the night. You know, or stuff you would do if you were traveling in Europe or something. You know, wear a money belt if you're worried about getting pickpocketed or, you know. And look, that woman's got her middle finger up in the air. I think it has something to do with this building. Yeah, see that? That's what she's doing. So hey, welcome to Chicago. Take that. Here's the London House. Here we're heading across Whacker Drive here. But hey, thanks for tuning in on our little lunch walk here. And we'll head down 2 blocks here. See, so Fannie Mae and the Blackhawk store over there. We went by it this morning, so we'll stay on this side of the street. I'll walk underneath the lower level there. We'll end it that way because I need to cross the street anyway. It's just an easy way for me to cross the street by taking some steps without having to wait for the light there. Yeah, Mark, Al Capone said he would sell milk. He was man of the people, but he just, you know, he was a racketeer. He was responsible for the deaths of a lot of rival gangs and people. They did run prostitution. They did do other things besides alcohol. They did intimidate business owners. The 5 families in New York. John Torrio was from the Godfather, the families that go back to Sicily, and Al Capone was part of the South Side. The North Side gangs were more Irish, but there were Italians with the North Side gangs like Vincent Drucci, but it was more diverse. North Side wasn't just Irish, it was also Polish like Jaime Weiss, and there was Bugs Moran. But the South Side gang wasn't all just Italian, but was more Italian with Al Capone. And Yeah, the city was on the take. The Chicago Police Department was kind of corrupted by the organized crime, and that's why the feds had to send in Elliot Ness to get Al Capone for tax evasion. Let's watch the Untouchable movie. So here, see where we're at here? Here's the Wrigley and Tribune. We're on Michigan Avenue. I got several videos where we do this, where we just walk underneath the lower levels of Michigan Wacker. Yeah, if the person thought I was going to get robbed above street, you really think you're getting robbed down here. Here's, but you see there's a lot of loading dock access. You can get to Wacker Drive this way. We're underneath Michigan Avenue here, Chicago, Illinois. You ever seen the Blues Brothers, the Untouchables? There is a small homeless population that lives down here year-round, and but it doesn't connect with all the streets. It's mainly just the streets that hug the river, north and south side of the river here, the lower level streets of Chicago. And see, that's Lakeshore East. It actually gets 3 levels that way. Go to Wacker Drive, that's where they tow your car. Lower Wacker, the gates to hell. But here, we'll head back up to Michigan Avenue. I got to get back to work. So if you missed any part of this, you can rewind it, watch it on the live tab there. We did a live stream this morning. I rode the Blue Line on Saturday. We got a 3-hour live stream from Cincinnati. If you want to get a feel for Cincinnati, I drove around with my cousin Mike on last Monday. You can watch that whole rerun there. Cincinnati, Ohio. We were there last Monday. But here we're back in Chicago. So thanks, mods. Thanks, Lunch Bunch, and everybody tuning in from all over the world. There's the Wrigley building. And yeah, I wish I was rich. I'm not rich enough to own a car, so you can't call me rich. I don't even own a car. But it's very expensive living in this city. Orioles versus White Sox. Thanks, Taco, for the good information there. So hey, Ireland, Jamie McShane, thanks for tuning in from Ireland. Dom, Selena Girl, Christy, thanks everybody. So hey, I'm heading back to work. We'll see you after 5 o'clock on YouTube. On YouTube after 5 o'clock, we'll walk home here. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you later. We'll cut out reruns eventually if there's anything significant. Have a great day. Talk to you later from Chicago. Appreciate it. Thanks, mods. 156 people. Hey, we're doing good. Talk to you later. All right, bye.